A tough loss to Ohio State at home last week, one in which they had 10 men on the field for the last two plays. Notre Dame is looking to bounce back against an up and coming undefeated Duke Blue Devils team, a team that very much surprised everyone with their upset win over Clemson to start the year. And now they're looking to add another big win over against the Fighting Irish. Now, Notre Dame is definitely looking to bounce back and definitely looking to make a statement against Duke. But this is a Duke team that appears to be much better than we expected. They are surprising people after a surprising year in 2022. And the biggest thing I think to me for this game is how Riley Leonard performing against Notre Dame's defense. Notre Dame made Ohio State's defense look almost average at times. This is a very good defense for Notre Dame. And Riley Leonard is an extremely talented player who could be playing on Sundays next year. 994 total yards for Riley Leonard, 5 total touchdowns. I think that we've yet to see the best from him. There's still definitely something left in the tank, and his ability to affect this game will play a huge role in determining the outcome. And Duke has plenty of talent to utilize, but they also haven't faced a talented defense like Notre Dame's. This is the best defense they've faced this year, and that will play a big role. And Riley Leonard is definitely the player that everyone will focus on. But again, he has a lot of talent around him. He has a lot of weapons to utilize, but he has to play smart. He cannot create turnovers and get the ball back to Notre Dame. I think the biggest question for Notre Dame is, can their passing attack show up? Last week, obviously, did not go to plan, and I thought it was Sam Hartman was the difference. Sam Hartman was what they needed at the quarterback position and to help their passing attack, and it just didn't show up last week. Now, yes, you did face a good Ohio State defense, but guess whose defense is also really good? Duke. Duke took away a lot of things of what Clemson wanted to do, and this secondary did a lot of good things and has a lot of talent, and they're playing really well against the pass. So finding ways to move the ball down the field through the air will be a big key, because if you can't, then the rushing attack is the focal point once again, and you're kind of back where you were in 2022. Now, Audric Estime is an absolute beast of a runner, and Notre Dame's rushing attack features multiple backs that give them a plenty of weapons to utilize, but you have to be able to throw the football. And Sam Hartman knows that. He is someone who will be responsible for that. And that plays a big role in this game too, because Duke is capable of creating turnovers and getting the ball back to their offense, and they're capable of shutting down opposing offenses. And we saw that against Clemson. We've seen that this year, and they can do that against Notre Dame too. Turnovers will be a big key. Both teams are good at taking away the football. Duke is one of the better in college football. So taking away the ball, getting the ball back to your offense not only gives your offense more opportunities to score, but it gives you that momentum and frustrates that Notre Dame offense, and vice versa. If Notre Dame's creating turnovers and stopping Duke, the momentum swings in their favor, and that's a huge opportunity for both sides to kind of get things to go where they want it to go. And the quarterbacks play a big role in that. Sam Hartman so far has been good for Notre Dame. It's just last week was kind of a hiccup. Over 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns, has yet to throw an interception. So he is definitely doing his part. He is definitely better than what they had last year. It's just this last week was disappointing. And there's a lot of talent for him to utilize. There are a lot of players that he can get going and find ways to move the ball through the air. It's just that you're facing a good Duke Blue Devils secondary that features a number of talented players that make life difficult. It's just plain and simple. Riley Leonard, like we talked about before, not the best year statistically, and I think that's kind of been a disappointment so far, but we saw what happened against Clemson. He is definitely a special player who can make big time plays, and Duke has a lot of opportunities to show that this weekend. They're facing, like I said, a good defense that will make life difficult for Riley Leonard, but Riley Leonard's a special talent who can make an impact. And if he is doing so, Duke is going to be hanging around in this game and making things interesting. And if not, then Notre Dame, I won't say runs away with it, but they're definitely going to be more than comfortable in terms of winning that football game. And there's a lot of talent for Notre Dame that Duke has to be worried about. Audric Estime, like I said, absolute unit of a runner. Good luck tackling him. Joe Alt has been good on an offensive line that I think at times has left something to be desired. So If he can get everybody else up to his speed and up to his level of play, that helps things a lot. The biggest thing for me last week is you're facing a team that has Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka, Julian Fleming, Cade Stover, a number of talented pass catchers. Benjamin Morrison did a great job against Marvin Harrison Jr. That is one of the biggest takeaways I had from last week. And it's just a reminder that Benjamin Morrison is a good player who has a bright future. And a lot of people didn't really know him outside of his 6 interceptions last year, and he's making a name for himself. And Duke has their hands full trying to throw the football against him because Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best player that Morrison will face. And Duke does not have anybody the caliber of Marvin Harrison. So you're essentially, it feels like you're taking away one player from Duke's offense because Morrison is on the field. Jalen Calhoun could be that guy. Maybe Calhoun has more tricks up his sleeve than Marvin Harrison Jr. did. Pretty unlikely, but it's a player to keep an eye on to see what he can do against Morrison in that defense for Notre Dame. On the defense side of the ball for Duke, we talked about their secondary. Brandon Johnson is a player that should have a big game. Miles Jones is another player. You have a lot of talented players in the secondary that make life very fun and very easy if you're able to create turnovers for Riley Leonard in the offense. Dwayne Carter is an underrated player on that front seven. I think that he's having a good year. He's had a good career so far, but he still flies under the radar because he plays for Duke, and most people don't pay attention to Duke or pay attention to the defensive tackle position in general. So he definitely is someone who can have a major impact. We just talked about the offensive line for Notre Dame leaving something to be desired, and especially on the interior part of that, that gives a guy like Dwayne Carter an opportunity to showcase his talent and make big plays. If you're picking this game, it feels like you have to pick Notre Dame, but with what you saw you do against Clemson, there's almost this uncertainty about can you actually just feel comfortable picking Notre Dame, especially after last week? A 17-14 loss wasn't exactly what they wanted. They did not expect to struggle so much as they did, but you also played a really good team in Ohio State. So you have to almost hang your hat on you played really well against a really good team at times, and you held an offense that was supposed to be one of the best in college football to just 17 points. So if you can fix some of the minor details, you can fix some of those things, then Notre Dame's in good hands. But you're also playing a Duke team that has nothing to lose. They know that they're the underdog in this game, and so far they've shown this year that that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they're not favored. It doesn't matter that they're not the favorite. They will play to their level. They'll play to Duke's football standards. And Mike Elko's defense gives any offense plenty of challenges. So if Duke's defense is giving Notre Dame problems, it's because their defense is being disruptive once again, and Riley Leonard is making special plays. I still think that Notre Dame wins this game, but I'm very interested to see how long Duke can stick around because I think it's going to be closer than people expect. It's just a matter of what does that final score look like and what does Duke do to frustrate Notre Dame?